What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another talking style video. If you guys remember a few months ago, I made a similar video in the style of this talking about Over Under 2, which was a tournament held in the Tetris community. And this time, I kind of want to talk about something different, something bigger, something of a larger scope. Today, I want to talk about the Smash World Tour and kind of educate people in my community and our community who don't necessarily know about this and how kind of scary this is and what this might mean for us and what this means for them. So, for those of you who aren't already aware, the Smash World Tour was the largest Super Smash Brothers for both Melee and Ultimate tournament circuit that existed. So many organizers from around the world took part in the Smash World Tour, and that completed up to a circuit of $320,000 in prizing, split down the middle for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and Super Smash Bros. Melee. And last night, we received a statement that the Smash World Tour in 2022 would be canceled, and the entirety of the Smash World Tour in 2023 would be canceled. I'll leave the full link to this Medium article in the description down below. But the main things that you need to know is that VG Bootcamp, the leader of the Smash World Tour, the organization that started it, received a letter from Nintendo. And the letter basically kind of said that the Smash World Tour could no longer properly operate without a license from Nintendo or Nintendo of America, and that they would not be issuing a license to the Smash World Tour for 2022 or 2023, effectively shutting them out from operating. And the reasons for this go pretty deep, but there are some pretty concerning statements in here, specifically under the Panda Cup section, talking about the actions of Panda CEO, whose name is Alan. Basically, this article details that Alan went around kind of threatening different grassroots Smash tournament organizers that if they opted to go with the Smash World Tour, which did not have an exclusivity clause, and did not sign exclusively to have their tournaments be under the Panda Cup circuit, that the Smash World Tour could get shut down and result in massive consequences for their own independent events. As VG Bootcamp details here, they were not exclusive, and they did not know about Panda's exclusivity clause, so they were very concerned when they first heard about this. In addition, Panda also made threats to other companies who had broadcasting deals with these individual Smash tournaments. The biggest one, Beyond the Summit, which is a company that I personally look up to for operations that I hold at Puzzle Kingdom and other ventures. Apparently, Panda tried to seize broadcasting rights of these individual tournaments that they wanted to be in the Panda Cup for free. They were not offering Beyond the Summit any money to release the broadcast rights and give them to Panda. Of course, Beyond the Summit didn't back down, and Beyond the Summit, along with VG Bootcamp, are two of the largest pillars of the Smash community right now, consistently holding large tournaments and bringing money and players, content into the scene. Whereas Panda kind of got started relatively late, around the same time as Beyond the Summit, but has not been able to make as large of waves as BTS has made. Of course, that changed when they got their license in 2021 and then announced the Panda Cup after the Smash World Tour, important detail, in 2022. So as you can see right here, another threat that Panda made, probably the most meteoric threat, was that if Beyond the Summit did not end up aligning with the Panda Cup, they would shut down their entire Smash operation in 2023. That includes their Major Series main stage, all the Smash Summits, all the Smash Ultimate Summits, any content that they make, they were out to shut it down. And the co-founder of Beyond the Summit, LD, corroborated this on Twitter, the tweet 13.6 thousand likes, basically saying everything that was said in here about us is true based on our experiences with the Panda CEO. So that is absolutely wild right there. And deplorable behavior from the CEO of such a large company. And apparently, a lot of these individual TOs still sided with Beyond the Summit. So Panda eventually released their exclusivity agreement, and they decided to keep going. They will now hold Panda Cup events that may also opt to join the Smash World Tour. Everything goes fine and dandy. And while this is all happening, Smash World Tour is in contact with Nintendo to get their own license, as was mentioned above in the Medium article. I won't go into this in too much detail, but what you need to know is that in April of 2022, Smash World Tour submitted an application to get their final championship event licensed by Nintendo. That's all you need to know. And then on the day before Thanksgiving, they got this notice, VG Bootcamp, that they could no longer continue operating the Smash World Tour without a license, and that they would not be issuing the Smash World Tour license. That is the basic info that you need to know. And I feel like a lot of people can get this twisted, so I kind of want to explain this in the way that I see it as an outsider, not necessarily someone who's too involved or into Smash. I feel like both sides can take a lot of blame for this. I feel like Nintendo's being very negligent and out of touch with how they've handled a lot of their Smash operations, including canceling the Big House Online, the EVO 2013 fiasco, several things you can read up on if you're curious on your own. But this is the largest blow so far, because throughout their entire communication process with VG Bootcamp, including their several applications for licenses, and they even encouraged VG Bootcamp to apply for licenses back in 2021 when these communications between Nintendo and VG Bootcamp had first started. They were encouraged to apply, and they said that they could still operate these events unlicensed, which was a big deal, basically showing that Nintendo kind of gave them the unofficial firm handshake to continue running the Smash World Tour, and then randomly, after ghosting for months of communication, creating a barrier between them and VG Bootcamp, they come out and decide to revoke the prospects for a license and revoke their ability to run the Smash World Tour without getting it licensed first. It appears that within their communications, they were also very vague to VG Bootcamp, which is why we're having a situation like this where there needs to be a public letter put out in such great detail by the VG Bootcamp team. But it also seems like Panda has been kind of a little slimy, and from my personal opinion, from how I'm viewing this, I feel like Panda wanted control of the largest Smash circuit. They couldn't beat the Smash World Tour, and that's why they started making these kinds of threats to try and strong-arm their way into being the strongest Smash circuit. So all of this happens, and now I'm going to kind of cover the public reaction in the aftermath of this, and later I'll talk about how it relates to the Tetris scene. So going back here, we saw what LD said, and there were immediately a lot of responses during the first night. Last night, someone tweeted this and made continuous updates of people who started to express interest in boycotting Nintendo and Panda in the Panda Cup, including Aiden, who used to work for Beyond the Summit and is now a tournament organizer for Ludwig, organized things like the Ludwig Ogren Championship Series and Ludwig Smash Invitational. Beyond the Summit, the entire company Beyond the Summit, Ken Chen, another former Beyond the Summit employee and currently a director at Team Liquid, Fatality, Lima, FaZe Spargo, Dark Wizzy, Joshman, DD, eTossed, who is an MPGR panelist. This is kind of interesting right here. And then there's this from IBDW, which I'll get back to, who said that if things continue to look like they currently are, they will drop Panda as their official sponsor and organization. And the sponsor of some more Smash players right here, including Leon, who I've heard of. AITX is also publicly boycotting them. And there's a bunch of stuff down here, just talking about different sponsors and stuff of Panda. But these are some of the big dogs, and more people have came out and talked about this even since then. But this is the most recent, comprehensive list I could find to kind of get all this information out here. So players are not having a great reaction to this, and I'll talk about Aiden's thing a little bit later. Aiden had a hard-hitting statement, and they'll be going live soon. I'll leave links to VODs and stuff in the description if you want to get more info from these individuals, because I think it's important to see everyone's individual perspectives in full. I, as especially one individual, and of course an outsider to the community, can only do so much to bring people up to speed on this situation. So bear with me. My information may be surface level, but I'll be sure that you have all the resources you need in the description to get caught up on everything regarding the Smash World Tour stuff. Next up, we have the first kind of big crossroads here, the first piece of information that came out from Nintendo of America. It came in the form of a statement retrieved by Kotaku for their article titled "Nintendo Shuts Down Smash World Tour, Organizers Losing Hundreds of Thousands of Dollars," in which they detail VG Bootcamp and Smash World Tour's situation. And they scroll down, and you see more details about the special tour and all that. You see Aiden's statement right here, which I'll leave a link to in the description. Aiden's had a lot of insight as a Smash TO. Um, and here we have an update from 12:16 a.m. today on the 30th of November. This is when it's being filmed. I don't know if I'll be able to upload on the same day. Unfortunately, after continuous conversations with the Special Tour and after giving some deep consideration we applied to any potential partner, we were unable to come to an agreement with Special Tour for a full circuit in 2023. Nintendo did not request any changes to or cancellation of remaining events in 2022, including the 2022 Championship event, considering the negative impact on the players who were already planning to participate, which contradicts what VG Bootcamp already put out in their statement. So VG Bootcamp put out an update about an hour and a half later, which reads the following. Nintendo's response via Kotaku has been brought to our attention. We're unsure why they are taking this angle, especially in light of the greater statement and all that it contains. And then they reiterate something from their official statement, which I didn't bring up earlier. I will also read this. As a last-ditch effort, we ask that we continue running the championships in the tour next year without a license and shift our focus to working with them in 2024. We alluded to how the last year functioned in that capacity, talking about 2021, with the mutual understanding that we would not get shut down and focus on the future. We were told directly that those times were now over. This is a final nail in the coffin given to our very particular relationship with Nintendo. This is when we realized it truly was all being shut down for real. As you can see, Nintendo is using very ambiguous wording, kind of some legal jargon here to say that they didn't officially request for it to be shut down, but they definitely alluded to it happening. And they alluded that there would be action taken, probably in the form of cease and desist, if Special Tour activities like this continued. They'd actually have to shut it down. They tried to do it in kind of an ambiguous way. They probably did not want as large of a public uproar as happened. But of course, with the actions of Panda CEO, especially involving the broadcaster beyond the summit, there's no way that this wasn't going to happen. Furthermore, they now dropped the statement that Nintendo gave to VG Bootcamp in its entirety about the situation after phone calls were made, stating that it's Nintendo's expectation that an improved license be secured in order to operate any commercial activity featuring Nintendo IP. It is also expected to secure such a license well in advance of any public announcement. After further review, we found that the Special Tour has not met these expectations around health and safety guidelines and has not adhered to our internal partner guidelines. Nintendo will not be able to grant a license for the Special Tour Championship 2022 or any Special Tour activity in 2023. So the interesting thing about this is that they're very vague in terms of their public safety statement. This could not be disclosed by VG Bootcamp. However, there are some theories circulating around that I won't necessarily discuss in detail because it doesn't have much to do with what I want to say. But I'm sure that if it took them this long, I would hope that Nintendo would have raised these concerns about safety with VG Bootcamp. In addition, it is interesting that they mentioned the prospect that they would not approve a license in 2023, when according to VG Bootcamp, they hadn't even applied for one, and they applied several months in advance in April of 2022 for their license for the Special Tour Championship in 2022, which occurred about 8 to 9 months later, I believe, according to the dates. It was supposed to happen a few weeks from now in December. So they were applying for these licenses in advance. They applied to them in advance of announcing, and they actually had to contact Nintendo and say that they had to announce the Special Tour Championship. They could not wait any longer for them. And VG Bootcamp gave them extra time than when they intended to try and acquire this license. So that basically wraps up all the official statements that we have so far from staff members who would be in control from Panda, from VG Bootcamp, and from Nintendo. I do want to bring one thing up about VG Bootcamp that I haven't talked about so far either. And that is this document right here, the uncertainty regarding VG Bootcamp's future. This is a statement by VG Bootcamp a few hours after the Special Tour thing dropped, where they also announced that they had to cancel their 2 upcoming Smash Majors. Glitch Duel of the Fates. Glitch is a very popular Ultimate-only major series hosted in Maryland by VG Bootcamp. A huge event that always had very unique theming. It follows a similar convention to what we do at Puzzle Kingdom with Puzzle Cataclysm Open. It was very cool to see those events come out and the creativity that the VG Bootcamp team put into them. It is truly a shame that they had to cancel this, as well as Double Down 2023 in partnership with Level Up Expo, you'll know for partnering with the Classic Tetris World Championship for qualifier events in the last year and also continuing in 2023. So there's kind of like this mutual ground here. Double Down was going to be held at the Level Up Expo in Las Vegas next February. It was going to be a huge tournament. $10,000 base prize pools for Melee and Ultimate for a combined total of $20,000 in base prize pool plus entry fees, etc. Huge prize pools for Open Smash Majors. Also, great production quality from VG Bootcamp as always was going to be here. This is just like a huge, huge tournament. Both of them had to be canceled because of the ambiguity that Nintendo expressed regarding their licenses. And that's kind of the news regarding VG Bootcamp. That's where everything stands right now. Panda, so far, it has been nearly 24 hours since the Smash World Tour has been opened and canceled on Twitter. There's been no statement from Panda or Panda CEO. What has happened, though, is something that I think is really cool and one of the coolest things that I've seen in this community. Coming from Beyond the Summit, they extended registration for their tournament main stage, and they're giving all revenue from this. It's actually quite a lot because of the late registration fee to the Smash World Tour. And several people have signed up for this tournament so far. So many more pros are coming here. I just like really seeing these moves of the community coming together and stuff, and I'm really happy to see that BTS would go in a kind of reasonable way, I see, to support VG Bootcamp. Getting people to come to a non-Nintendo affiliated Smash Major, making it larger and larger, while also supporting VG Bootcamp, helping them pay off some fees, some debts that they may have to pay after this. And now, the last thing I kind of want to cover here before I talk about this in relation to Tetris is reactions from Panda-related players and commentators, etc. As this one's pretty interesting. As I mentioned earlier, IVDW has threatened to leave the org, but has also mentioned to not go after Panda staff and players. And you'll see as I kind of go through the list of people here that not a lot of people on Panda knew about this. This is very much like a CEO, like upper management thing. IBDW being very open about how if things are really how they are or how they seem to be, that they're out with Panda. They are done. And then Coney, a popular Smash content creator who's been involved with Beyond the Summit content, creative director at Panda Global, is also dumbstruck by this news. They had no clue that this was going on. And the final thing that I saw is after the announcement, TK Breezy was saw on stream filling out job applications, which is honestly pretty funny. He did mention on his Twitter that this was a bit and that he'd been looking for other more formal work for a while. But it's still kind of funny to see that after like commentary and all that. And a lot of insightful things about the Smash community said in his own stream as well. So I'll be sure to link that in the description. And it's also cool to see large personalities involved with Smash, like Ludwig and Moist Critical. Also very quickly make videos on this stuff. Very heartwarming to see that a lot of people are coming out with this in the Smash community. They've been keeping this trending consistently on Twitter for 24 hours under Nintendo, Smash World Tour, Panda Cup, and Panda Global tags. So be sure to check out all that stuff. There are so many insightful tweets that I cannot necessarily link below. But that took a while, and that's you catching up on Panda Cup. For now, I'm going to talk about how this relates to our scene. And this one should be a shorter section. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I just want to let you all know how, like, we are kind of in a similar-ish boat, though I don't actually think we have it as bad as the Smash people. So I want to rewind a little bit to the winter of 2020, nearly 2 years ago exactly. Tetra Online was taken down by DMCA, by the Tetris company, under mostly illegal claims through Steam due to infringement of visual expression of the Tetris property or whatever. Keep in mind that, Tetramino block stacking games are not exactly copyrighted or trademarked. You can't exactly trademark that. Look at Tetrio, for instance. An extremely successful block stacking game has not been taken down by the Tetris company. Of course, trying to take down these games means that that company feels threatened, and this could happen in the future at the whim of the Tetris company or a game publisher to our tournaments. Of course, for a game like Tetria, it's highly unlikely to happen, and we've been pretty lucky recently with the amount of community support we've been seeing, but it's always still a possibility, especially if the overarching Tetris company has been willing to strike down fan games that are free to play, and that wouldn't necessarily involve a harm financially to the Tetris company. Of course, lost sales could be a factor, but with how the community really works, we usually play most, if not all, of the games that are available. And if anything, Tetria would be the one to hurt their finances in the first place compared to a game like Tetra Online. But besides the point there, let's kind of talk about what could happen to us. Could Sega or Enhance or the Tetris company file a DMCA, takedown request, or a cease and desist to stop us from live broadcasting one of the tournaments that we hold? This is technically a possibility. I wouldn't entirely rule it out from the Tetris company. They kind of have rogue actions. This is just me being 100% honest. I would love for there to be a future where we could build meaningful relations with the Tetris company and be 100% secure and solid in our foundations as a competitive scene. However, right now, I don't know if there's a path to that happening for us, at least in the modern scene. Classic is sponsored and all good, but for us, we don't really have that yet. I wish there's a path for us to have a good future to where you could see the Tetris company in a positive light. However, right now, I think we're still on our own. However, we're in a pretty lucky situation with our individual publishers. Sega has not directly supported a lot of our direct operations, but Sega in the UK and Ireland have supported Puyo GB in the past, running Puyo and Puyo Puyo Tetris competitive tournaments. In addition, Enhance has their own competitive circuit, the Tetris Effect Connected World Championship, which runs peacefully beside Square One Tetris Championship, my own event under Puzzle Kingdom, the organization that I currently run and own. And that is one of the best comparisons I think I could make to this. You have a situation where you have an officially licensed, officially sponsored circuit under Enhance, and then you have our own thing made with love by the community. Of course, Spatial Tour is to Square One as TECWC is to the Panda Cup in this situation. Could you imagine a world where Enhance would send a cease and desist to Puzzle Kingdom to stop us from broadcasting the Square One Tetris Championship, to try and ump the size of the TECWC? I'm personally confident in saying that no, I do not think that would happen, especially with participation in the staff that Enhance have been willing to hire. Taking directly from the community to hire people such as Austin, their current community developer, who you'd know as Beast and Shen, who's the organizer of the World Puzzle League tournaments and has commentated several times for Puzzle Kingdom, even played in the last Square One. And you also have Green Tea, a member of the Classic Tetris community who joined Enhance as a game designer and designed a lot of multiplayer elements for Tetris Effect Connected that you know and love today. In conclusion, I think this is a good warning for us, another reminder that we should not take anything for granted, but also another reminder to support our boys in Smash. A lot of Smash stuff that has been built has inspired our operations at Puzzle Kingdom, has inspired operations at Team TSD, and operations around the whole community, and two scenes that are so similar. One that has exploded, the one that we can look up to in Smash, simply because of the size that they've been able to, simply because of the proportions that they've been able to grow to, while still remaining grassroots. It is a nice sign to know that we don't necessarily need developer support to be successful and become profitable and become a strong scene, but at the same time, we still need to be worried about what those guys up there are going to be doing to us. We need to kind of be careful and evaluate more what could happen to us. But I think in good faith right now that we do not have much to worry about with the current publishers that are involved with Tetris. That being said, stuff is always a possibility. We are in a similar situation to Smash where one snap of an executive's fingers could take any one of us out at any time. However, I'm kind of blessed to feel that that might not happen to us, given these recent given the recent progress that we've had in this community with game staff and developers like Osk and Austin from Enhance and the Enhance team in general, all being generally supportive of competitive and reaching out to support tournaments like Kazu's Cup, for going out of their way to promote tournaments like Square One without issuing us a license, all stuff like that. But I figured that me making a video would help get awareness of the Smash World Tour and what's happened to it out to the Tetris community and allow you guys to be more educated on what happened, give as brief a synopsis as possible, even though it's an extremely complex situation, while also giving examples of what it could mean to us and how it relates to our scene. Hopefully you enjoyed this insight. If you guys enjoy more talking videos like this, feel free to let me know. I'll continue making them. A lot of people say that I'm fairly well spoken, so I kind of want to make sure that I can also use this skill in addition to my love of creating and producing tournaments and competitive events for you guys. Anyways, I'm going to head out of here. Hopefully this didn't take too much of your time. I'll see you all around.